Okay. So this guy walks into a bar and he's like, "Hey, are you from Jethro Tull?" Get it? Because the album is called Stand Up. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope that you're having an awesome day. Thank you so much for being here. Today I am bringing you my album review of Jethro Tull's Stand Up. This is their second album, which was released in 1969. And of course, as with many of my reviews, I will link a playlist down below that you can go back and watch my first and initial reactions to each of the songs in this album. But without further ado, let's go! Stand Up is the first album to feature guitarist Martin Barre, which is like awesome, and what an entrance into the band it is. I mean, his guitar playing is just awesome and really will bring a new vein of spirit into this album and their career forward. Out of the albums I've heard thus far, which is Aqualung, Thick as a Brick, and Songs from the Wood, I feel like this is Jethro Tull's most consistent album. It's their most balanced and straightforward. Now, personally, I don't think that it quite reaches the heights that those other albums would definitely hit, but I do feel like it's extremely strong and consistent, and even the few nitpicks I have are really barely worth mentioning. Rolling deep with the first track, we are just pummeled by a crushing blues drive fueled by heavy rock riffs and undeniably fantastic drumming. I really love the way that Ian maneuvers vocally through this track as well. It's a very stylish blend of rugged soul. Barre's blazing solo is, like I said, once again, just this awesome welcome mat into the band for us as listeners who may have been familiar with the band in their early days. And while it's a brief showcase, I like the way that, the classic Jethro Tull flute comes in with Ian, just blazing it up in there. And let's just admit, while the main thematic riff is repetitive, it never gets boring. It never gets tiresome. Opening the folkier side of the band, Jeffrey Goes to Leicester Square. I really love the movement of Cornick's bass specifically in this track, of course alongside some very playful flutes and guitar pairing, like a good wine and cheese. You can definitely imagine the common folk jamming out to this in ye olde medieval town. It's a quaint little piece that nicely bridges the songs from the opener, from that hard rocking, into the next track. Barre is a whiskey smooth reworking of the Bach classic, and this one is just charming beyond words, from the way the flute speaks throughout the passages to the grooving guitar movements, the bass licks. It's easy to see why this would become a fan favorite, and I am a fan, and this is easily a favorite. There's a reason it's on the best of Jethro Tull. Glenn gets a nice moment to shine about halfway through as he solos and leads the band into a brilliant finale. And let me just say that this piece, the way that they've interpreted it into their own style, sounds incredibly modern, and even cinematic to a lesser extent. Back to the Family starts off with a folky drawl of a guitar as Ian muses about having to go visit family and his lack of interest thereof. Besides the rise in the chorus, we can almost feel Ian's conflicted nature of wanting to visit and spend time with family, but then, wanting to get back into our own routine, go back home, and get on with life and our own pleasures. And that feeling is nicely emoted in this track, and personally, while it's not a favorite on the album, it's still a pleasant listen, especially with Barre's solo. And then with a bit of bittersweet sentiment, Look Into the Sun ends the first side of this album. It seems that we're reflecting in sunny meadows. We have brushes of soft and yet pointed strings, tender piano accompanying us in Ian's self-reflection. The guitar fills specifically just drip with bluesy sunshine and brighten every single gap within. It's very easily one of my favorites on the album, not only musically but lyrically as well. I think that it's very relatable in missed opportunities and chances for reconnection. We can still make summer. Yes, summer always comes anyway. Nothing as easy as a bit of a motivational kick, telling us that, life is hard sometimes no matter what we do. So you just gotta take it easy and do what you can and don't overfret. I love the hard bluesy ebb and flow of this track, the opening and closing of the hi-hats from Clive. His drumming later on is empowering, it is driving, and the ending climax is just completely played for playful overdramatics. Fat Man is to me the most musically refreshing track on this album. With its Eastern influences and the percussion and the mandolin melodies, the flute riffs accenting the guitar are savory, the stripped back nature of the song is sweet, and the lyrics are appropriately sour, as Ian seems to blame some of his problems perhaps on weight, despite him realizing near the end that maybe that's not quite the issue. Hotel Lancashire, we used to know, is one of those meal songs. And what I mean by that is this is one of those tracks that you listen to and you feel complete. You feel like you don't need anything else. You feel like you got every single thing that you wanted out of it. It's filled with meaty guitar riffs and sizzling solos, a pertinent bass line dancing alongside the music. And while the Eagles in their popular song Hotel California used a very similar progression in the chords in their song, neither of the bands seemed to think ill of this coincidence, though the two did apparently tour together briefly. I also really like the writing and the lyrics in this song, as it seems that the band is reflecting on where they've come from, how they've gotten to where they are now, and the troubles that they used to know. Ian's charming delivery fills the next track, Waiting for Reasons, with romantic yearnings. I love the subtlety of the organ that slowly builds up, and then eventually it just opens up and blossoms into this orchestral radiance. Dee Palmer's string arrangements in here really take this track to a completely different level. It really takes it from a very good song to a perfect song. And of course, the flutes amongst those waves of orchestration is just so paintingly gorgeous. And the singing is appropriately gentle and reassuring. The final track on the album, For a Thousand Mothers, brings back that rock spirit that we opened up with for one final hurrah. Once again, we are dominated, pleasurably, for one last time with catchy and heavy riffs, which really makes sense in the thematics of this particular track, as the song relates to being told you won't be able to do something, you're not going to make it, specifically from your parents, and then that well-earned grin and pride you feel when you prove them wrong and you do make it. And in a sense, perhaps this last message in this last song may mark a celebration of sorts for the band, perhaps proving their families, their friends, their critics, that they were going to do things their own way. They were going to be Jethro Tull, and they were going to make it. And make it they did. So those are just a few of my thoughts on the individual tracks on the album, but let's get into my favorite moment, my favorite lyrics, and my song rankings to round out this review. So my favorite moment in the album is the bass solo in Beret. Cornick is just doing his thing, and it's the perfect bridge between the two halves of the song. And it's just one of those moments I personally look forward to when I'm listening to that one, and I look forward to the whole piece. It's really all good, all good. But just the way that Cornick is playing that bass, I'm in for it. And then my favorite lyrics are, if you couldn't guess it, taken from Look Into the Sun, and they are these. So when you look into the sun and see the words you could have sung, it's not too late, only begun. We can still make summer. Yes, summer always comes anyway. No matter what, time moves forward. No matter what, summer is going to come, whether you like it or not. So try not to miss opportunities. And even if you do miss a chance for something, don't lament over it. Summer always comes around again. Make best of it. And then ending out this review with my song rankings, they are as follows from favorites to least. Reasons for Waiting, Beret, Look Into the Sun, Jeffrey Goes to Leicester Square, Fat Man, For a Thousand Mothers, We Used to Know, Nothing is Easy, A New Day Yesterday, Back to the Family. Thank you guys so much for watching my album review. I hope that you enjoyed it. Of course, you are more than welcome to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it if you enjoyed it, all of that stuff. Definitely comment below with your favorite moments, your lyrics, and all of that as well. You can support the channel on Patreon. You can buy a shirt. But regardless of all of that, thank you for being here. Thank you for spending a few minutes of your day with me. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.